All right, family, let's jump right into it. Dear Dr. Dandridge, my marriage ended suddenly, and I'm struggling with the emotional wreckage left behind. I feel like I've lost more than a partner. I've lost the life we imagined together, the routines, the shared dreams. Some days I'm numb. Other days, tears come out of nowhere. Friends try to comfort me, but they can't see the hollow spot in my heart that used to be filled by us. How do I grieve the loss of a relationship that defined me for years while still trying to rebuild my life? Thank you so much for writing in. Divorce is hard. I have never been divorced, but I know people who have been divorced, people who are currently going through divorce. And I think the hardest part that you identified is the fact that it happened suddenly. A lot of people don't anticipate divorce coming. As a matter of fact, I don't think that anybody on the day that they get married think about divorce. A lot of people don't approach marriage with divorce even on their radar. And that is 100% natural. So it's really hard and we mourn, I think, greatly because inside of the back of our minds as married people, this was never supposed to happen. We know that there's this potential that it could happen, but when it does happen, like you said, suddenly it's like you are a wreck. You're a wreck. Your partner's a wreck. If you have children and family, that becomes a wreck typically. Finances become a wreck. I think I've done and responded to a listener inside of the past where it's just like you're inside of like this whirlwind of emotions. Physically, you're going through things because you're just inside of a place where you've never anticipated or even prepared to be in. I don't think anybody prepares for divorce. It's a couple of things that you said inside of your letter that I want to address. You said that what did you say? I feel like I've lost more than a partner. I've lost the life we imagined together, the routines and the shared dreams. For you to properly get through a divorce, I say it inside of designing your goodbyes. You're going to have to create some new routines. You're going to have to reimagine what your life looks like. And those shared dreams now have to become individualized dreams. But before even they become dreams, before you can get routines, before you can reimagine life as a single person, or if you're getting us out of a different relationship, you have to embrace the reality that it is over. One of the things that you said really struck me. You said, some days I'm numb, other days tears come out of nowhere. That's the crazy part about life and transitions is that it has these ups and these downs, these highs and these lows, these peaks and these valleys almost. And my biggest encouragement to you is going to be to go through the terrain. If you are feeling at the top of a mountain one day, be at the top of the mountain. If you are feeling as though you are below sea level some days, be below sea level. The thing that I hate to see the most about people going through relationship problems and specifically divorce is that they don't properly emote the way that they believe that they should. You said that your friends try to comfort you. Your friends, unless they have been divorced, do not know what you're going through. Stop talking to people who have not been through what you've been through. Stop getting advice and stop expecting. That's another thing. Stop expecting people who have not known your pain to comfort you in a way that is going to relieve your pain. This is true for the person who has lost a spouse, this is true for a person who has lost a loved one via death. This is true for a person who has lost things financially. This is true for a person who has lost a job. This is true for a person who is battling addiction. Do not, or should I say, stop setting yourself up for failure, expecting people to comfort you at the level of comfort that you need comfort if they have not been through what you have been through. You're divorced, but you're trying to get comfort from people who are either married, never been married, or happily married. It just doesn't work. Find, and there are actually groups out here for grief that are specifically catered to relationships. That there are other divorced individuals who are going through divorce, who have been through divorce, who are grieving differently than those who might have, gone through different, other types of grief. But find you a community that has a shared experience. That's really where I'm trying to get to. Find a community that has a shared experience. And with that shared experience, you can now get the proper support that you need. To get to your question, you said, how do I grieve the loss of a relationship that defined me for years while still trying to rebuild my life? The simple answer is to redefine yourself. I'm going to give you this exercise. I want you to find, if you can, or as a matter of fact, even if you can't find the original, I want you to go on Google and get you a blank birth certificate. If you can't find your original birth certificate, I want you to get a blank birth certificate. And I want you to fill it out with the name your mama and daddy gave you. What I want you to do is I want you to hand that birth certificate to yourself as if you were your own doctor, your own mom, your own dad on the day that you were born, and say, here, you are, and then I want you to say your name. And inside of that moment, I want that to be your moment of rebirth after this divorce. I want you to literally give yourself another birth certificate. We see this very often inside of addiction platforms like AA and 12-step programs. They literally call those days that you started your transition, that you started your recovery, your birthday. The same thing applies to the day that you're going to be divorced or separated. It's a new day for you to redefine who you are. And it is going to be hard. You said that you are trying to rebuild your life. Rebuilding sometimes is not a horrible thing. Sometimes rebuilding is exactly what we need to do because the old building was so shot up. The old building was so run down and raggedy that we weren't happy. And any home renovator, any car rebuilder, any person who has ever dealt with any kind of craft will tell you that there is a point of no repair to where you just have to rebuild, and it is okay. Because my grandma used to say this, you can't put a bandage on a stab wound. Like you can't put one of those, small bandages on a stab wound. You've got to give yourself the proper care. And sometimes that proper care is tearing everything down and starting from scratch. Okay. Again, thank you so much for writing in. I know that the days ahead are going to be a struggle and you are going to feel like an emotional wreckage. Like you said, there are a lot of things that you are leaving behind, but I also want you to know that there are a lot of things that you should be looking forward to. Okay. And for anyone who is experiencing divorce, if you decide to give yourself a birth certificate, a new birth certificate, do me a favor, put it inside of the comments how you feel after you go to Google, print out a blank birth certificate, fill it out, hand it to yourself. Let me know how that makes you feel emotionally. and mentally to know that today can be your new day of new birth. Okay. Thank you for joining me at my desk. I'm Dr. Dandridge. This has been Designing Your Goodbyes. I will see you all inside of the next episode. As a matter of fact, you can check it out right here. I promise you, I will be there as soon as you press play. All right. I'll talk to you all soon. Peace.